We are going to start editing my book today. I don't know who told me that the writing process was harder, but it felt like the writing of my book just flowed from me and was such a joy. And the editing, it's just blowing my mind. It is not the part of this process that I've enjoyed the most. It is such a blue day outside, and I just want to go for a walk and see the birds. Okay, we can do this. We can do it together. Okay, I've set up my desk. I've tidied everything. I've made a tea, and the first thing was to make like this document, which I've color coded with all of the different kind of bits that I need to change. Welcome, bookish friends. Hello and welcome from down under. I am currently in Australia, in Western Australia, near to Perth, in a small, beautiful, creative town in the gorgeous sunshine. It's summer here, so I've escaped the snowy winter of Wales because I need to write my book. I actually, more specifically, need to finish editing my book, which I did not realise would be such a hard task. And it is. So there are renovations going on at the moment in the bookshop. Very exciting. Alexia's moving in downstairs. There's new shelves going in, there's new books going in. And so I thought, okay, I would take a little bit of a winter break and get to come here to Australia, where I have wonderful friends, to be able to focus on my manuscript. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk a little bit about my manuscript, which is here. So exciting, my writing process, and some books that have inspired me along the way. So the draft is finished and I'm now working on editing it. We currently have 1 month. I've been agented and I have received notes on the manuscript from my agent to get this ready for London Book Fair, which is in 1 month's time. So that's very exciting that he wants to take it there, but that means I have to do all of the edits this month. So I thought I'd bring you along on the journey of how that actually looks like, because this is new for me and I have worked as a librarian and bookseller, and I've worked in this for a while, finished a master's in creative writing, and it's still surprising me, this process. So if anyone has any writing tips or editing tips, please let me know in the comments, because it would just be helpful to know that there are more people out there. But I thought I would share it because it's interesting. So for those of you who don't know, my book is called The Bookshop by the Sea, after my bookshop. It is a fiction, it is a novel, but it's definitely based on kind of my real starting of the bookshop, and there's lots of elements in there. If you've been to Aberystwyth and seen my bookshop, or you go and visit after reading this book, you'll definitely recognise like little Easter eggs and the shop and the town. And it's kind of a cosy, heartwarming romance. So think about like Jenny Colgan or Pumpkin Spice Cafe, that kind of thing. So it's, yeah, sunshine, grumpy, romance, where she is starting a little bookshop after her library gets shut down in London. She moves back to Wales to open this little shop that's been shut for a while, and there she meets a grumpy writer with writer's block who's struggling after the success of his first book to write his second novel, and they kind of work together, and there's a cute cat, and that's what it's about. So it's very exciting. It started off as a very rough draft, and now it has, with the help of an editor, kind of got together a bit more into a physical thing. Now this week I was struggling to edit, really was. So I've looked for a bunch of inspiration and I've watched a bunch of things about writing and editing, and so I thought I'd share some of my tips as I'm starting to kind of get the hang of it a little bit more. One of the things that helped me so much was printing it off. It got a bit of water damage from being in my bag on the beach, but I feel like the beach is very inspirational, so that's fine. But there's a place here called Officeworks that kind of bound it up for me and put it into a physical copy so that I could go through it and actually start using a highlighter and making notes on a physical copy, which I think has made a huge difference, because earlier this week I was just, every time it was a blue sky, I thought I just don't want to sit at a screen. I also briefly wanted to touch on some of the books that have inspired me this week to be writing more and to kind of get into that. Of course, if you don't know, the Bible is such an inspiration for me, just in every single way, in every single strength that it brings me. So I would say that's my number one, but these ones also have been really great. So before the coffee gets cold, this has been just a huge international bestseller. It's a Japanese translation. It's absolutely lovely. It kind of focuses on the idea of a little coffee shop and what could happen if you got a few minutes just until your coffee got cold to be able to travel back in time to a point and kind of relive a conversation or a memory and do it again. It's really heartwarming, it's really joyful, it's reflective. Yeah, it just set in Tokyo and it's absolutely lovely. And just that idea that there's that limitation on the time travels, it's just a sprinkle of magic, I thought was really lovely. So that's one of the books that I read that was inspiring this week. Slow, How to Improve Your Energy, Health, Relationships Through the Power of Slow by Lee Holden. This has been really beautiful just to dip in and out of. The chapter, it's called Let Go and Go with the Flow. There's no actual chapter like numbers, but that's the one on page 73 if you have it. That was particularly helpful for me this week. Trying to just slow down and take a little bit more appreciation of each moment, but also recognizing that everything doesn't have to happen in one day. It doesn't have to happen in one afternoon. I know that I am so guilty of this. I have lists of things I want to achieve and things I want to grow and things I want to learn and do, and that's exciting and wonderful. But there's a quote that I really love that says, we overestimate what we can achieve in 1 year and we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And I think that's really beautiful. Like if you look back and just take a moment to think about how far you've come in 10 years, and everything that's changed in that time, it's such a huge thing. And so this book is about that kind of art of slowness. Oh, this one I'd recommend so much. I've reread this one actually this week because I've read this a couple of times. This is Daring Greatly. How the Courage to be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent and Lead by Brené Brown. There's some really good podcasts if you want to just head over and watch her TED Talk on YouTube about this and you just want a bite-sized chunk, that's brilliant. I love her audiobook as well. She's got a great voice for reading, but Daring Greatly is just fantastic. Oprah's interviewed her, Elizabeth Gilbert's friends with her. The way that she teaches about how to live with boldness and passion and start things, even when it's scary, because believe me, I am not exempt from this. Starting the YouTube and sharing the little pocket of my bookshop, and now looking at writing and sharing my manuscript, sharing my book with the world feels like I get that feeling in my heart whenever I think about it out loud. And yet that's what's allowed me to connect with all of you lovely people. That's what's allowed millions of people around the world to be able to see my tiny bookshop in Wales, which still blows my mind and is just incredible, and all glory to God because I know it wasn't through me. So this is about feeling vulnerable, about feeling exposed, and how to live with boldness through it. So I recommend that. Okay, I have my green tea, herbal green tea, and my notes as well in my book about talking about editing and writing. And I've just got 4 points that I thought I would share with you, just that I've been learning this week. Okay, so this is my current draft. It's currently covered in highlights and it's going to get more. I expect it's going to need another redraft at least before it gets taken to London Book Fair at the end of the month. So please be praying for me for that, because the concentration that this is requiring this is not a part of the process I'm currently enjoying very much. So I'm trying to keep focused and push something through to the finish line. So I want to be able to share this book with all of you lovely people, and I want it to be able to end up on the shelves. So I'm trying to keep that goal in mind. But this is some of the things I've learned so far. Okay, sip of tea for courage. Oh, for those of you who are asking, the reason why I often drink tea from a straw is at the end of my straw is a little filter. So it allows me to have loose leaf tea in my cup, and then as I drink through the straw, it gets filtered up. Okay, first point that I've got here in my notebook is write a bad first draft. Your first draft, and every writer I've spoken to, an editor about this, everyone just says, just get it out there on the page. It can be terrible. It can need so much work. It can need complete character changes or plot changes or bits added in. But if you don't have some kind of clay form to mold, it's hard to start. So just do something, write a bad first draft, write a messy, chunky, missing bits, missing a scene, write it anyway, and then you've got something to start molding with, and you've got something to start playing with and changing. And just don't be afraid of writing that bad first draft. I thought this was such helpful advice for me because I had an image of what I wanted this book, and I think a lot of us do when we read a lot of books, we know what a good book sounds like and should read like. And so for me, learning the art of just writing something and that being okay with that, and then knowing that we can improve on it from there, that was really helpful. Point number 2, physical is helpful. Having a tangible copy, writing it, in a notebook with a pen and writing something. If you've got writer's block, if you're stuck on that day, step away from the screens. They're not always helpful. And actually writing something physically or having a physical, tangible thing can be incredibly helpful, especially for me. And I think a lot of us who do, again, like independent bookshops and like real books, we're enjoying that kind of thing in our hand. I think that can be really helpful as well. For me, printing this out was it was such a vulnerable moment. It was such an exciting moment to see, oh, this is not just something that's in my imagination anymore. This is something that's in my hand, and that makes it feel a lot closer to getting it from here to here, to an actual physical printed book. Number 3, expect vulnerability. And this does go back to our Daring Greatly book recommendation, but I didn't realise the vulnerability perhaps of putting words on a page that you're expecting people to read and hoping that people will buy it. But actually it makes me feel quite nervous to do that, and that vulnerability of kind of putting my ideas and my imagination out there for the world to see and love and take comfort and joy from, also probably criticize, and that's part of it. So I think that expecting that vulnerability and kind of holding that and making space for that, praying about that is been a learning for me. The last thing I would say is look for inspiration. So take breaks. My writing mentor talked to me about this last night, and he said, take breaks, take 24 hours off where you're not reading it, not trying to understand it more. Give your brain and your mind space to absorb in other things. So for me, this looks like going to the beach while I'm here in Australia, or going for a beach walk when I'm back in Aberystwyth in Wales, getting out in nature, reading other books or going to other bookshops. I feel like that's always so inspiring for me. I mean, I would say that, owning a bookshop, but I really think that being surrounded by other people's books and creativity is just such a joy. Also doing something else creative, so painting or dancing or playing music or singing, doing something creative that's not related to writing. I think that's such a good thing to kind of take joy in. When you're maybe editing the book and that becomes more like work, then this is something to do that's a bit fun. So saying that, I am now going to head out and go for a lovely walk and yeah, walk down to the beach and walk down to the sea. I'll show you some clips of what that looks like. I'm so grateful to every single person who's following me on this journey. This is definitely a new thing. If you want more kind of writing vlogs, let me know, because it does feel quite vulnerable to be sharing that. And I can't wait to be back in the bookshop soon. That content will come back definitely, but for this next month we're going to be writing, and I'm so grateful. If you have any writing tips or recommendations of books that are good for helping writers, please put it in the comments. If you've written a book, put it in the comments. I want to know that I'm not alone in this. Like, let me know if you have any encouragement. If you would read a copy of my book when it's published, please let me know. Put it in the comments below. And then just lastly to mention, we've also started a book club online for all of you lovely people. So I'm so excited about this. If you want to join our online book club, we decided to do it as a YouTube live. This was just the safest way to be able to protect the community and to make sure we kind of looked at other platforms like Zoom and things like that. But it looked like YouTube live was the safest way to do that. So we're going to be going live once a month. So we've got a month until the first book. The first book is going to be Anne of Green Gables. I'm so excited for this one. If you've already read it, maybe you've watched the TV shows, there's 2 now. Maybe you love it just as much as me. Maybe you haven't read the book, now's your opportunity. But this is going to be just a lovely conversation about Anne of Green Gables and the themes and topics that is in those. So that will be in 1 month's time. Book number 2 that we're going to do will be Jane Austen. We're doing Pride and Prejudice and Northanger Abbey. Northanger Abbey and Catherine Morland are one of my favourites, and we're going to be doing a bit of a comparison of the couples between that and in Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. So kind of looking at different kinds of romance and how those different characters are written. And I obviously love Lizzie Bennet as well, so we can have a chat about all of those things. If you want to join that, that's going to be for people who are subscribers of our page. So you can head over to our page, and there's a small amount. Again, that's just the safety of doing this online, and I really appreciate it. If you do want to, then that means the world to me. That's a wonderful way to support us, so I appreciate it massively. We're also going to be doing, for people who are members, we just wanted to give back something extra, so I'll be doing a little extra videos as well that'll be up there. The normal content will stay the same. This videos will always be free, they'll always be coming, so please don't worry, nothing will change. But if you want a little bit extra, if you want to join an online book club, then please do come and join us and chat about it. That would be so lovely, and that will be live. And yeah, I can't wait to share it. That feels like, again, something where I'm daring greatly to step out and try something new. So hopefully some of you will join us. We'll start those once we've got enough members. So head over and subscribe, and wish me luck with my manuscript as I start this editing process.